What is up, guys? NishCap1 here, showing off some more top lane Singed gameplay on the day before Singed buffs go live. So this is with the still pretty nerfed version of Singed, but the buffs go live tomorrow. I play this game versus General Sniper, which is he's a super well known high elo top laner, very high elo top laner. He's been rank 1 on the server multiple times. I think he's like might be near rank 1 right now. Super aggressive lane dominant player. But I played this game versus him with Grasp, Ignite, Singe, and it actually like gave me a lot of perspective into potentially how strong Grasp really can be in the laning phase, which is quite nice versus melee champions especially. So going into this game, I have autofill support. I have first time Yone mid lane, and I actually have Hansung as my AD carry, which is pretty cool. But the reason why I warded in that bush up there is because I wanted to just have vision in the bush before we get the lane, knowing if she's gonna be in the lane or in somewhere else, right? So right here, she's trying to poke up onto the blue buff, so I kite back. I have Grasp charged up here, which is really good off of the blue buff, and I don't think that she was expecting it, because usually people don't expect Grasp Singe, like they're not really ready for it. But I ended up getting a pretty good chunky trade on her right there, which helps me because she uses a health potion coming in the lane, which is quite nice. That's super good. Now here, again, that ward being up there is really good because I'm planning on being a little bit pushy first. Because I know I have a health potion advantage, so she trades into me there pretty aggro. Procs Conquer, another health potion down, but because of that, the wave should be pushing towards me now, which is I'm going to back off a little bit and play a bit more defensively. Riven has really high kill pressure on Singed early, and he knows it. Even if you have like a level 2 versus level 1 advantage, like even if he was more than one minion behind there in terms of XP, he still has a kill pressure advantage because he can clear the wave with his Q while he's all-inning me, and then hit level 2 and then go level up. Another ability, another empowered auto, and then kill, right? We both have Ignite here, but one thing to note is that because I have Grasp, I can get a little bit of extra trading going on where I normally wouldn't be able to. And then that actually ends up, I played this matchup a million times, not necessarily versus General Sniper, but versus other Riven players as well. And it really throws him off here. He becomes really scared of the auto attacks, especially before he has his shield. Because that Grasp auto will actually do just enough damage to like make it so he's much more scared of all-inning. Especially when my minion wave is bigger like this. So noticing that my wave was building up, I decided to push in it more aggressively. And again, see, he's not being as aggressive as he normally would if I didn't have a Grasp, which is quite nice. Like the early game trading power of the rune, even though I'm not even using the rune that much right now, he's just scared of it. And like that's keeping me a bit safer here, which is quite nice. Like the pressure of the rune is making him kind of play a bit more defensively, especially with the amount of minions that I have there. So walking in and try here to look for a recall. I see that Diana's bottom, so I should be able to recall no problem. Bot lane did pretty well there. Okay, so in terms of items here, I am going a bit defensive because Riven is going to be very aggressive with the Ignite and all the longsword starts. So I could have gone boots here, or I could have even gone for Amp Tome and just Amp Tome only. But refill potion and cloth armor is decent here versus Riven. So that is what I opt for. You don't necessarily have to go refill potion on your first back when you start Doran's Ring. And again, the reason I've been starting Doran's Ring is because the refill potion Dark Seal start got nerfed, because refill potion got nerfed. But then again, red potions got nerfed too. Just potions in general got nerfed, right? So that's one of the big reasons they're buffing Singed. If you guys haven't seen it, I had a video recently where at the beginning of it I talked about the Singed buffs. But the Singed buffs are passive movement speed is up from 20 to 25% on the drift. And then the per target cooldown is down from the per target cooldown is down from 10 to 8 seconds. So we're gonna be faster more often, or we're gonna be faster and be faster more often. I'm a big fan of the buff. And then the ultimate level 1 is getting reverted from what is it? I think 20 right now stats to 30 stats right now. I messed up my fling here, which is not that big of a deal. He could have maybe all in with Flash W, but he knows that I probably get the return kill on him there with Grasp Ignite Auto, so he goes to back off. So here, I see Diana coming up. Go ahead and pop the Ghost here, try and run away. Right here, she's still chasing me, so I know that she has Flash to all in. Turn around, auto attack for it. Get the Grasp proc, just enough damage to help Evelyn clean up the kill. Good on Evelyn for responding. They're gonna walk up towards top, I think, here. Nope, Yone backs off, so that ends up going back and resetting, no problem. Not by boots. Whenever I was walking up back towards top lane, I saw that from the Riven roam, I saw that Diana was going to be walking up towards top, so I knew that it was coming. But, or sorry, whenever I was walking under, or pushing the wave towards Riven's tower, sorry, that's a more accurate description. I knew that Diana was coming towards top lane, so I was trying to back off. But then she got up there a bit faster than I expected, so I had to deal with it. But it ended up working out just fine. Oh yeah, and the ultimate is getting reverted level 1 from 20 stats to 30 stats, which is awesome. Level 2 ult is getting a buff actually from 60 to 65. And level 3 ult is keeping the compensation buff from 90 to 100 now. It's keeping that 100 at level 3, so quite good. Meaning that we're going to be faster at basically literally every single level. Not even basically, we will be faster at every level. And ultimate will be a bit more impactful early on, which is awesome. Right there, I assumed that that she was out of dashes. I didn't count properly, so I went for the fling and I messed it up. That is my fault, but I see Yone walking up towards top. So, looking to fling Riven right there. Ignite, get out of tower range as fast as possible because she will turn if you're in her tower range. She lives on 1 HP from my Ignite, unfortunately. But, Yone, W flash Q, Ignite gets the kill. And this is huge, so Riven dies under her tower with massive stacked minion wave. The massive stacked minion wave. And we start getting a lot of plates here, which is super awesome. So Riven is super hurt behind here. I get 2 plates, that's 160 times 2, and then we're going to go ahead and farm the next wave up too. Doran's Ring is quite nice here for this reason, because we just end up getting passive mana back, which is super good. Gives us enough mana to end up pushing the rest of this wave. Don't have a lot of AP right now, but the fact that I have Doran's Ring means I can regen enough mana to clear this. And because, you know, again, C-Pot was nerfed and C-Pot lost value, then this becomes another way to have mana regen, right? The mana regen of C-Pot wasn't nerfed, but the health portion was nerfed, so the item overall loses value. Which is, again, part of the reason why we're doing the start. So, in terms of items here, what I'm looking for is either AP or armor or HP. I decided to go Warden's Mail here and Amptome. Reasoning for Warden's Mail is that I just want to make sure that Riven never gets a chance to really, like, kill me or get a lead on me. And if she does, then I still have some armor to, like, help back it up, right? I noticed that on the enemy team, the champions who are getting the most fed is their AP champion, Sylas and Diana. Meaning that because my bot lane is winning, that their AD carry, their primary other physical damage outside of Riven is not going to be too fed. Now Tabby is okay versus Riven. Tabby is more better versus pure auto attackers, and which Riven is not. She weaves a lot of autos in, for sure, but she's not a pure auto attacker, right? So Tabby is actually not the most amazing boot purchase versus Riven, but neither is like Merc Treads or Swifties. You just kind of get whatever is best for them in team comp. In this game, it is gonna be, I forgot what I bought here. I think I bought Merc Treads here, but I killed her pink ward there. She's again scared of the grass because it's actually doing a decent amount of damage on these trades. She's struggling, I think, to adapt to the matchup, which is quite funny because Riven players are generally, or just top laners in general, are more used to Singe, like running Conqueror, running Spellbook, running Predator, things like this. They're not really used to like the grasp, and I assume if it was Aftershock, they wouldn't be used to that as either. So the more I play grass, the more I enjoy it. Right here, I'm just being a little bit of a bully, making sure W so she can't Q back onto me or E back onto me with W. Stop her mobility and get another plate there. And the reason why this is so effective is because I'm ahead, because I'm winning. Not necessarily in CS, but I think I'm only a little tiny bit behind in CS, so that's because she can farm Cred Camp early on and I can't. But just trying to really exacerbate the amount of pressure that I'm putting on her by making it so that I can recall again and get better items, or just in general have like a more favorable time versus her. Because if I proxy behind tier 2 and recall, her wave is just now getting to the lane, meaning that I have a big timing advantage, right? So if she recalls, then I can push with Demolish and get another plate or a lot of tower damage, right? And that throws off the recall pattern for her, because now not only do I have a big item advantage, because she doesn't have teleport, we both have ignite. If I proxy and then I recall and come back to lane, then he has to make the choice. Well, hey, you know, he's thinking to himself, I can't teleport back to my lane. What do I do if I can't teleport back to my lane? I'm gonna have to find a way to like be relevant in the lane. And so he decides to just stay and try and farm and outplay, which I guess we'll see how that goes. But right here, decide to go for the fling and start a trade. Right here, I noticed he took a lot of damage, so I go for the all-in. Pocket Grass, and then try and kite out his ultimate. He hits every single Q and the R and the ignite, but because of because of Warden's Mail and Grasp and Second Wind and Taste of Blood and the healing and the armor and everything. I should mention I was lagging pretty bad this game for some reason, I'm not sure what's going on. But because of all of my healing and armor and damage combined and everything, I actually won the all-in. And a big part of that, by the way, was the items advantage that I had. I had a chance to recall and buy many times before he had a chance to recall and buy, because the fact that he went Ignite and he lost early trades to me meant he couldn't really build any momentum or any pressure in the lane. And because he couldn't do that, outside of jungle interference, there's not really a way for him to recover unless I just massively mess up and die. I almost did die there, but I'm going to attribute part of that to the fact that I didn't really dodge any Qs and I didn't dodge the ultimate. But also part of that is because, you know, Singed is a little not so much on the bright side this patch, but that's okay. That's okay. Tomorrow will be better for sure. That is completely fine. Okay, so first item here I'm going to be going Demonic. The reason I'm going Demonic is because they have triple melee champions, and Riven will go Gore Drinker, and then Sylas builds a little bit of HP on his Mythic usually, and Diana will either build Sunfire or Riftmaker or Rocket Belt, probably Sunfire, meaning that Demonic gets really big value here against health stackers. Here, you'll notice I'm doing something. I'm not walking directly to top lane because I see Evelynn doing Herald. And this is something that you guys should adopt, by the way, if you're not super worried about losing some minions, is don't walk straight back to top lane after you respawn if you don't see the enemy top laner, even if you see them, right? So here I'm just making sure that Evelynn has cover while she's doing Rift Herald, and then we get into a fight. Diana decides to sacrifice herself for her team. We just kill her. This is something that you should be doing, I think, is not worry so much about actually just running straight back to top lane or whatever your side lane is. Like if you're in the mid to late game and you're transitioning into farming a different lane, right? You shouldn't run straight back to that lane. You should kind of like do what I did and walk in between where your lane is and where your teammates are. Because if your team gets engaged on and you're not like nearby enough to affect the fight, then you're kind of gonna lose. You're gonna lose a lot of like game impact. You're gonna lose a lot of momentum and value, right? So what I did there was, instead of walking straight to top, I walked nearby top lane, but also nearby my Evelynn, who was on Herald, along with the rest of my team, meaning that if something happened, which it did happen, that I could be nearby, and if nothing happened, I could just walk top lane and continue farming. Yes, I would lose some minions on that rotation, but that's not always the case. You don't always actually even lose minions there. So here with Demonic, she just is not really able to keep up with me because she doesn't have, I don't even think she has Mythic yet. No, she has Iron Spike Whip still. So I'm able to pretty much do as I please. She has no way to actually 1v1 me. Here, we're able to just come by and start on the red buff. Being conservative with my mana here because I don't have C-Pot. I see Diana right there. I back off, make her think I'm not going to go for it. Run back in, seal with the fling. With the fling poison. Get out with the plant. Very nice. Some Singed gameplay. Even if I don't take it there, it's worth it to try because I'm not really trying to all-in or fight or anything. And Riven was too busy farming minions, so she couldn't really stop me. If I noticed Riven left the lane, then I would probably back off and not worry about it, but because she wasn't there, and because Sylas was still farming mid, I'm just able to do that.
To shake or not to shake.
Okay, the reason why I backed off there and wasn't aggro is because I didn't have a full mana bar, and I wasn't sure exactly where Diana was after losing her red. She's probably on Krug, we don't know for sure. And so just I don't know where for sure Diana is, that it's not worth it for me to try and force the fight, even though I'm really far ahead. Because if Diana shows up and I get shut down, then there's a chance that, you know, Riven and Diana can duo carry the game. I mean, it's just not worth it. I'm super far ahead. Team is winning. And we scale, right? So there's, like, not really a huge point to forcing that fight. Like, you can. You totally could. And there's a good possibility I'd win. But also, you know, if I don't need to, then why? Right? Why not save the Ghost for Dragon? Why not save it for a bigger team fight? Why not save the Ignite for a bigger team fight? Right there, Riven gets her flash blown. Super good for us. I see Diana is 3-manning Yone and bot lane, so I'm gonna go ahead and ping towards, or walk towards mid with my Lucian. And even though Riven's here, he just can't defend the tower because it's one of the things that Riven has trouble with, as well as Singed is no ranged wave clear. that is how it goes. One of the very few weaknesses of the champion is lack of ranged wave clear, but at the same time, Riven has a little bit of an easier time compared to Singed versus ranged matchups because she just has the shield and the gap closers and the stun to actually be able to like get into range of ranged top laners, whereas Singed does not. Here, walking towards bottom because Sylas is pushing the wave. I see that my support and AD carry have a bit of a flank, and I'm not sure what's going on exactly over there, but I'm trying to like clear the wave and get into range of them just in case the fight breaks out. which it does, so I start pathing up towards it immediately. They all disengage, so we're gonna go ahead and stay bottom here. I'm thinking to defend top because I don't know for sure what's happening. I see Diana on the map. Celis comes over to me, and I see Diana already walking towards me, so I'm backing off. I'm not gonna stay up there and all in. Just trying to kite out, trying to regen a bit with my potions, with my ultimate. Diana walks in because they assumed that it was 3v1. It was not, because I knew that they were coming. I was watching my map very closely. Ghosting, only have tier 1 boots here, but get the fling on Diana, W on Lulu. They both die. Really clean out play, making sure to use my grass autos when I can. And that gets a lot easier, by the way, next patch, to chase down and kill. I probably don't even have to ghost next patch. Like, it'll depend. Maybe I do have to ghost, I'm not sure. But because I'm just faster next patch, an additional 5 MS on level 2 ultimate doesn't sound like a lot, but because I'm gonna also have additional 5% on the passive, yeah, that can add up, right? Here I'm experiencing dragon PTSD, which is the thing that every top laner is experiencing this patch, dragon PTSD, when you're playing spectator and top lane the entire game, and then you finally get a chance to impact the game, and you just want to do dragon because they giga buff dragons for some reason, and then your team doesn't want to do dragon for some reason, and then you're just experiencing nothing but grief and pain because this objective that the entire game has begun to revolve around on, you can't do it because you've been stuck in top lane the entire game, and then when you finally have a chance to actually do the objective, then you can't. Because you can't do it by yourself. Because they also made it so you can't do it by yourself unless you're a jungler who's a little bit far ahead. And you can't even do Rift Herald by yourself because you're playing Singed or a lot of other top laners. Yeah, I'm not sure why they thought that buffing Rift Herald would be a buff for top lane when it's just a buff for jungle in reality. Okay, here we see a fight break out in top lane. I mess up a little bit here trying to rotate to it because there's hex gates and I forgot about it, but then I walked back because I was looking at the map and I saw, oh, hex gates. I walked back, grabbed the hex gate, popped the ultimate while I'm a little bit far away from movement speed just to get in range, and then I cut them off here. I put W down so they're cut off, and then I'm trying to like make a wall of poison in the lane so they have to walk their poison to get to the escape. Managed to fling the Riven back into my team, and then they go down. Very clean, very clean. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm not sure they thought that the Rift Herald buff was a buff for top lane. Here I'm pinging for my team to come help with the Herald. Because, like, the majority of top laners can't actually solo Rift Herald unless they have Bork, or if you're an AP top laner, unless you have Demonic, right? So you really need one of these two items to solo Rift Herald, especially, like, early in the game, right? Later, like, 18, 19 minutes, yeah, sure, a lot of them can. But for that first Herald, like, I'm not sure why they called it a buff, because you still have to rely on your jungler for it. And if anything, like, Rift Herald's also close to mid lane. So, the fact that they always call Rift Herald-like buffs a top lane buff, I don't get it, because mid lane goes there too. Jungle has the most impact, because jungle actually hard sustains through it, with just their inherent jungle item, whereas top lane has to either buy % damage or buy sustain, or both, to kill it. So, it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just very awkward, I think. My idea to fix this, by the way, to fix the top lane agency issue, while having TP still be nerfed, so it's not obnoxious in pro play, was just make it so that the first dragon spawns bot and the second dragon spawns top. Or just randomize it every game, right? Maybe some games dragon spawns top. Maybe some games dragon spawns bottom, and then it flips, it rotates, right? It's like so in Wild Rift, if you're playing on blue side and you're playing top lane, they call it the solo lane, you will be on the top side of the map on your screen. But if you're playing purple side, sorry, red side, I'm a boomer. If you're playing red side and you're on top lane, solo lane, then you'll be on the bottom of your screen in what you would consider a quote-unquote bot lane. But everything is flipped, so it seems the same, right? Which is super cool, because in Wild Rift, they don't want you to play from, like, the upper right perspective. They always want you to play from the bottom left perspective because of the smaller screen size. However, I don't see any reason why they couldn't just actually flip it and make it so that the dragon actually spawns in Baron Pit, and make it so that Baron actually spawns in Dragon Pit. Like, yeah, it would look awkward, but I mean, I think it's a good solution. That being said, there is the FF, and I will probably throw another game on here for you guys to watch because that was an absolute banger. Gonna catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace. Alright guys, here's another game I played before the eve of the Singed buffs. So, this is a game where I had a very, very rough start to the game. My team starts losing summoners. Immediately we start like getting to a 5v5 level 1. It's just a very, very awkward, you know, level 1 experience. I have Conquer this game, or Scion Conquer with Nimbus Celerity. I'm just trying it out, seeing if it's good. I end up walking through the enemy team here, getting a lot of people really low with poison. Unfortunately, Scion pops a W there. I assumed he would die to poison, but he didn't, even on play stack Conquer. He ended up walking back through the fight and still having it, but I should have probably walked away. I didn't think that I would be dead there. Unfortunately, I died to the Bard auto. Did a lot of damage with Conquer, level 1, fully stacked almost the entire time, but it was all in all a 2v1. So, hey, what can you do? As you can see, I'm coming into the game very tilted. That's kind of just how it goes with top lane in this patch. It is 12-14. But by the time you see this, it might be 12-15. I'm not sure. But what is going on here basically is we've started the game 0-1. I'm late to lane when generally you want to be pushing level 1 versus Scion, so I'm late to the push. Meaning Scion gets lane prio. Scion also has more EXP because he had 2 assists level 1. I had 1. But we're gonna walk up and we're gonna start charging Conquer as we trade, as we fight. Eating a Grasp auto from Scion there. Overall, the trade being a little even, maybe a little bit Scion favored there. Grasp is a bit stronger than Conquer early on, and he procced it twice on me there. So while he's doing more damage, he's also getting more healing. Something to consider, but as the game goes on again, Conquer is a bit stronger going into mid-late. And part of that is the Precision Minor runes are really good. And part of that is the just Conquer itself gives a lot of just raw AP, or in his case, I think our other champion's case is raw AD, right? So here he's going to be forcing the freeze to get his Q, make sure he doesn't miss any last hits, because he wants to just farm as much as possible and keep the wave near his tower. So no real reason for him to push up there. However, he does clear the wave, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk the minions back into my wave with poison and just DPS slowly. Again, using Doran's Ring here, flinging him before he can actually get his Q off there. Unfortunately, I canceled the auto. That's one of the awkward parts of Singed, is that like your fling auto attack combo is not like entirely consistent, meaning that sometimes you'll go for your fling auto, especially this is noticeable when you play Conquer because you're relying on it, right, to stack Conquer, but it's not actually coded as an auto attack reset. It's just coded as a normal auto attack. So if you auto before you fling, in which the vast majority of cases you will auto before you fling because you're trying to maximize DPS, then your auto after you fling is based on your attack speed cooldown. It's not based on your on an internal thing where it says, hey, auto attack reset, right? You know how like Jax's W is an auto attack reset? Imagine if whenever you push W on Jax, you had to wait for your next auto attack and it wasn't just a reset, right? It's like kind of awkward, and it makes playing Conquer a little bit clunky, and it just honestly just makes playing lane in general clunky, because like whenever you're trading versus champions, you're just losing DPS and you're losing movement, and you can't really be hyper efficient with all of your inputs, because you know that your fling auto is just going to be a bit like clunky, right? And that's one of the quality of life things I think they could really improve on Singed. Is the fling auto attack should be an auto attack reset, in my opinion. Another thing I think that they could improve would be like to remove or drastically reduce the cast time on W, because there's a lot of times when you're going to be moving really fast on Singed and you need to W someone, right? But then your character has to stop moving and then cast the W and then start moving again, which is like super awkward, and there's not a lot of bruisers that have to like stop and wait abilities like that. And Singed, I do consider him to be a bruiser. I think he's an AP bruiser. Riot classifies him as a specialist, kind of like how Fiddle is considered a specialist, or Shaco is a specialist. I think Shaco is more of an assassin. I think Fiddle is more of a, you know, mage jungler, but whatever, fair enough. They want their champions to be called specialists, then fine. I think at the end of the day, Singed is an AP bruiser, basically, no matter how you put it. Not the greatest trade for me. He actually misses like his Q and just chunks the hell out of me with Bomby Cinder and W autos and Grasp, and I end up just dying. And then we're gonna put a little bit of sadness in the chat. Every game is a loss. Yeah, this is basically how it feels to play top lane in 12-14 and probably 12-15 as well to an extent. Is that a lot of the games, and if you guys watch other top lane players, I'm sure they're complaining about this. It's like I know Tyler 1 has been complaining about this a lot whenever he's been playing top lane. Is top lane just feels like it doesn't matter. Top lane just feels like you're flipping, and your input on the game doesn't matter unless you can just like hard split push or hard take towers, or just like scale like an absolute monster regardless of how ahead or behind you are, right? And that feels really bad. Like it feels like anything you do in lane doesn't matter, and it doesn't make for a fun experience, and you can't really join fights early, which is a little unfortunate. So big shout out to the Yone here. He was actually right this game. We ended up countering their comp pretty hard, so good for him. The Scion is ulting. I forgot exactly he went here. Okay, he ulted back towards top, no problem. Yeah, a lot of top lane right now is just kind of like not the greatest. And what that has to do with, the teleport nerf. That has to do with the changes to Dragon and Herald, making it so that Herald, I talked about this a bit before, but Herald is like, it's just more of a, it's more of a buff to jungle here than anything else. So right here, we are going to engage. Yone gets a nice knock-up, a nice ult. And then the reason why is because I saw that I had a flank on Skarner while he was in the river and I was in top lane. Proc Conqueror, use Ignite, or sorry, not Ignite, Proc Conqueror, use Ghost. End up walking him down and killing him. Pinging the danger from the Scion in case he's rotating down, but he's not. Get gold from the thing. We're gonna back up. I'm gonna get a little bit of mana from this. Unfortunately, Yone takes, actually, he took all of them. I didn't realize he took all of them. And I was needing them for mana, but whatever. Not the biggest deal in the world. Yeah, back to top lane. A lot of top lane just feels like your inputs and your gameplay doesn't matter that much, unless you're like extremely far ahead. But like if you're, the thing is, the difference is if you're playing bot lane, or if you're playing mid lane, or if you're playing jungle, right? In order to carry the game, you don't have to be as absurdly, insanely far ahead of your enemy laner as you do in top lane in order to win. And that's the difference, right? So here I'm just Proc Conquer. I took a few bad autos there, a bad Q there, but the reason why I'm staying over here is to make sure that he can't ult away. Maybe he gets the kill. I have to back off here because I don't have enough HP to keep going, or mana for that matter. So we're just backing all the way up. Oh, see, that was brutal. He actually got the stun on what's his face, Galio. The Galio's unstoppable during his E, so Galio gets the stun as well. Knock up in that case. But yeah, kind of brutal. Ooh. Yeah, like I was saying, you don't have to be as absurdly far ahead on the other roles to carry the game as you do in top lane. With top lane, it right now feels like you have to be so far ahead. Like, I'm talking like 70, 80 CS, like full tower plates, tower first blood, take both Rift Heralds with your jungler, take every jungle camp. Like, you have to be that far ahead, like astronomically far ahead, to be able to actually carry the game. Whereas in mid lane, you know, you could be, hey, I'm 1 kill up, let's go roam bottom, we're gonna go ahead and win bot lane for my bot lane, let's go roam the jungle, we're gonna go kill jungle too. It'll be a good time, right? We're playing mid lane, we're good, we're chilling. Or if you're playing bot lane, you know, oh, you know, we won 2v2 at level 3. Now support's gonna go and roam top, and he's gonna gank the top laner and kill the top laner. He's gonna roam jungle and kill the jungler. He's gonna roam mid and kill mid. And you notice that a lot, especially when you're playing versus like Pyke or Alistar or Leona, or even like the Enchanter supports like Bard do this too, where they just like start hyper roaming with even like the slightest bit of a lead. And a lot of the time they don't even need a lead to roam, they just start roaming, right? And it feels like the only lane that really like suffers the most from roaming is top lane. Because in top lane, you know, if you leave lane, enemy top laner is going to get plates. If you leave lane, enemy top laner is going to farm. And like, granted, in other lanes they can do that too, but they're just not punished as much as top lane for doing it. Because in mid lane, you can get there quickly or more quickly from any point on the map, because it is in the middle of the map, right? In top lane, if you run bottom, it's going to take you the longest to run back to your lane. You even probably have to recall. In mid lane, if you run bottom, you just run back to mid. In mid lane, if you're on top, you just run back to top, because you're always a good distance from mid. In bot lane, again, you can argue, oh, it's a mirror of top lane. The support can just kind of roam and do whatever they want. But they'll get punished for it. But the thing is, they don't really get punished for it, because the 80 carry solo kill capacity on the enemy 80 carry is usually not that high unless they're also really far ahead. So the issue, as always with bot lane, is not the AD carry role, it's the support role being ridiculously overpowered. Because the support can just, the proactive support is basically a second jungler. They can just kind of do whatever they want. Without consequence, like without anything to really even worry about. Because they can just get away with it, right? And that is really unfortunate, because I don't think it's really fair for top lane, and I just don't think it's a good, like, thing for the state of the game in general, right? So here, Cyan is proxying me, and we are trying to just cut off his ultimate. Make sure he can't ult to the left. That's why I'm not letting him get that distance. Yone ults and gets in front of him, pulling him back on the tower. We get a kill. And here, I'm just trying to like not walk past him so I don't take extra free damage. In hindsight, I could have just walked past him to get to the wave and lose less CS. Doesn't matter a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so a part of the reason why support doesn't get hurt as much for roaming is because, one, support is also lower income than top lane. Supports are balanced around just... Excuse me. Supports are balanced around having no income. Or very low income. So support losing gold for roaming doesn't really matter a whole lot. And the way that catch-up XP works is that if you get behind from roaming and you are the support, then you can like catch a few waves with your team. Here I notice Skarner is walking over towards me, so I'm being really careful here. I know that he is near in the jungle, and I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. So right here in this little alleyway, it's not alleyway, but like imagine that there's a little strip horizontally right above the bush. If you stay in that strip while you're killing minions and you don't go further south than that little area right above the bush, you're actually gonna be in Fog of War. There's a little strip of Fog of War in that area, and you'll actually see it on my map in the bottom right here. You see that right there? It's mirrored in bot lane. That little strip of area is Fog of War. And so if the enemy jungler is not paying perfect attention, they're just gonna assume that you already recalled or something, so they're not gonna see you like go in the bush. If they're smart, they'll figure it out. But for a jungler who's kind of playing on autopilot, they're not gonna realize what happened, because they're just gonna look at the map and be like, oh, Singed went into Fog of War. I think he walked in the jungle when I wasn't looking. And they'll look in the jungle and try and find you. But yeah, it's... Like I was saying before, top lane is interesting right now. Not in the greatest spot. The other thing is they buffed dragons. They buffed almost every dragon individually, meaning that dragon and bot lane and jungle by extension is stronger. So, and that makes top lane weaker when dragon is more important, because it reduces your solo impact on the game, because top lane almost always cannot attend the first dragon fight. So when you're playing top lane, you're basically coin flipping the first dragon fight. Well, because dragon is more important now, that means that that first team fight is more important, which means that they're going to have more 4v4s, which means that if your team loses that first 4v4, the game is going to snowball in the enemy team's favor, which means that you're even more behind in top lane, and you can't really do anything, because if you leave your lane, then enemy top laner, because of tower plates, gets hella tower plates, gets super far ahead, and then you're double screwed. So it's like, what do you do? Your only real option is to try and play for these like massive solo kills. But even then, like, that doesn't really matter that much, because if you get a solo kill in top lane, the enemy top laner is going to be better at holding versus you. So he actually ults me there, and that's when I know I can actually get the kill on him, or at least like, can I get the kill on him? I forget what happens here. I'm pinging for my team, but I know his ult is down. I'm trying to like avoid the Q. I walk right into it, unfortunately. I'm actually getting close to going here, which sucks. And part of this is the level 1 Singed ult being super weak now. But he ends up just like wanting to in for minions, because that's what Sion does apparently. And then Yone walks up, and I believe Yone gets the kill here, or do I forget what happens. Oh, I thought he would die to Demonic there, so I backed off, unfortunately. Let's walk up, Q auto, and he dies. He's gonna try and go for the tower kill, and I believe he actually gets it with Demolish. I don't remember exactly. He gets a lot of damage on it, but no tower, because they nerf Sion's post-mortem tower damage. What was I saying about Dragon? Yeah, so the first Dragon fight is essentially a flip, because top laners can't really attend the first dragon, right? Teleport is nerfed, and you usually have to use teleport to get back to lane, and you cannot teleport to a non-ally minion. Sorry, you cannot teleport to a non-ally tower what am I, sorry, hold on, let me rephrase this. You cannot teleport to any unit outside of allied towers before 14 minutes. After 14 minutes, you can TP to minions and wards, but before 14, you can only TP to allied towers. Meaning that depending on where the fight happens, and whether or not you even have teleport, assuming you have teleport, you can't even go to the first dragon fight. So that first fight is usually a flip. And if your team loses that flip, then you probably just lose the game, because you have to be so astronomically far ahead of your enemy top laner that in order to carry the game or have impact, that it just, like, it doesn't matter, right? Or you can do what Sion's doing and just sack your lane and try and get a fight, which may or may not work out, right? There's no way to know for sure. Depending on your champion, depending on, you know, your teammates and stuff like that, right? There's no way to know for sure. For this game, it ends up working out for him, but like a lot of games, you know, there's no way to know. So right here, they actually have a decent flank on me because I walked in to try and help my Viego. I could not do much. Right here, they're trying to like get behind me to tower dive, but I end up backing off. I know that the Krugs are up, so I'm trying to scout the Krugs. Looks like Skarner backed off, so we're gonna go ahead and walk back towards lane. But yeah, that's why so many top laners they're complaining right now, and I wouldn't harp on it so much if it wasn't like a big deal, because I think it's a big deal. Historically in the past, whenever top lane has been like this, it's just been like a systemic issue. And a lot of people will say, this is one argument I hear a lot, is they'll say, oh, but you're playing top lane, you signed up for the island. It's like, no, that's not it. When I started playing top lane way back in the day, I started playing top lane because I enjoy the champions that were designed around top lane. Like, all the characters that I like are balanced for top lane, right? Singed, Garen, Shen, Kayle, who else do you even like Mordekaiser, like, all of these champions are designed around top lane. They're built around top lane, right? And like, yeah, you can try and play the mid, but at the end of the day, like, they're just not going to perform as well because there's less tools for them to succeed in mid lane. Right here, I took a bad trade from Sion, but I'm popping my ultimate for a bit of regen. Just trying to get it in range to cut the Sion. Did not work out because he ults towards my tower. He ends up ulting past tier 2. And so I actually see MF walking towards him, and I assume he's not going to go for the X heat because he wants minion waves, so that means MF's going to be able to finish him off here, hopefully. Yeah, and people will always say, oh, but you signed up for the top lane island experience. That's what you signed up for. No, dude. Historically, top lane has not been this isolated because historically Dragon has not been this powerful. It has been stronger for a bit, but it's never been this strong. Either with the old Dragon system or the Elemental Dragon system, it's never been quite this strong. And don't get me wrong, I think the Elemental Dragons are overall good for League, but it's like, man, it's never been quite to this degree where the Dragons have so much impact on the game. Because originally Dragon gave gold, global gold, and then afterwards, after that, they made it so that Dragon gave like a stacking buff, which gave you gradually more damage. It was basically just the Infernal Dragon was every dragon, where it would give you stacking damage, and then after that they made it in Elemental Dragon, where every dragon gave you a different buff. And Elemental Dragon, I think, is my favorite iteration of Dragon. I think it's the most fun, I think it's the most balanced, or at least it has been for the majority of players in the game. But right now, with how powerful the individual buffs are, like, it's just not that fun for top lane. And you know, historically, top lane has been able to use teleport. They've been able to realm. They've just been able to have more impact overall on the map, like every other role, right? League is a 5v5 game, it's a team game. If I wanted to play a solo game, I'd go play like a different game, right? But I want to play a team game, that's why I'm playing League. You know, I signed up for a MOBA. I knew what a MOBA was going in. A lot of players don't, but I did because I come from a Dota background, I come from a Han background. And so like, I knew what a MOBA was, and in those games, they call it what is it? They don't call it weak side. It's I think they just call it the farm lane, or like the I forget. There's a word for like solo lane, where you're farming versus like a 1v2 lane. But in Dota it's different. It's totally different. It's not relevant either way. In those games, your solo lane is not nearly as isolated as it is in League. So like, why is it then that in League we've evolved to this, like, we've slowly evolved to this mentality where people will always cite that top lane is quote-unquote supposed to be an island experience? It's really not, right? That's really not the case. And the only reason why people even, or at least for me, that I even started playing top lane so long ago was because all the characters that I like were top laners, right? Always liked like the more bruisery melee champions. I always liked like tank champions. I always enjoyed like being the big guy in front. Like that's always been fun for me. I also enjoy mages quite a bit, but that's totally different. That's whenever I play mid lane. I don't really play them that much because it's just a different experience overall. And as time's gone on, I've gotten weaker at mages, so it's whatever. But I really enjoy like the frontline bruisery tanky class. Right here, I see we had a flank on Sion. They ended up backing up off the flank, but I flung the Sion to my team. He ends up trying to go for the MF, but it's too late. He's just not strong enough to kill her. He has his Sunfire procced up, and he's getting a lot of damage off of it, but not able to finish it. He's gonna go for the minions here. We just DPS him so he can't even kill those. Just farming kills off Sion, basically. What he's doing is inting us. And it's almost working because, like, they're managing to collapse on my Yone, too. But, like, we're here by Baron, so we're just going to start it. So I don't went over there to try and help, so, like, I don't think they expected us to be doing Baron at first, but then, yeah, Bard ult comes down. Forgetting, like, what happens here. They actually got kind of low from, oh my gosh, I forgot about that, yeah. Huge CC chain with the MFR. Ends up running him down here with my Ghost ult, or I think just Ghost, actually, no ultimate. But yeah, I got some kills there too, which is super good. Yeah, so Sona with the massive ult into the MFR, just crazy stuff overall, really good. I think we go to restart Baron and then Sion shows. Yeah, Sion shows. Right here, I notice I'm low on mana. So I'm trying to like actually either zone Sion or finish blue, and hopefully both. And I couldn't actually zone Sion because he ignores me. So I elect to do one of two things. I can either go over there and try and fight him, or I can try and finish blue buff because I'm low mana. Well, if I don't have mana, I can't like do anything, and I'm killing the blue buff fast enough. So I said to finish blue buff and then walk over there. With blue buff, I actually have mana. Then we're gonna go ahead and start the chase down on Sion. Next patch, by the way, this chase down is so much easier for Singed because of the passive buff. We're gonna be able to get in range of him a lot quicker, which is super nice. It didn't make a big difference here because we caught him anyways, but next patch that will be easier because of the passive buff incoming. And so here, I noticed that Skarner is in range, he's looking for an R, and I'm trying to back off because I don't want to get, you know, a free kill, or become a free kill. Yone not so lucky. Skarner pulls him during his spirit, and they just obliterate him. I have 2.1k gold, so I'm gonna try and recall soon. I think yeah. So what if I sell Barons and do a camp, I have enough for Riftmaker. The reason why I'm going Demonic Rally's Riftmaker this game is because it's just good versus their tanky team in general. Tanky Skarner, tanky Sion, Bard is pretty tanky, Galio is pretty tanky. So versus like a heavy melee, heavy tanky comp, it is quite good to have Demonic, Riftmaker, and then Rallies for the slow. But Demonic Riftmaker is generally your go-to damage combo versus tanky champions. And then if you're still struggling on damage, or if they're not dying fast enough, then you can go Void Staff as well. And Void Staff will actually make your Riftmaker damage go really crazy because Void Staff damage, the magic pen applies to your all of your damage, so it's quite nice. But yeah, I personally don't agree with the notion that top lane should be an island. I think that's what bad players believe about the game, in my opinion. Mostly because it's a Reddit opinion. And I know it's like a meme, you know, like making fun of Redditors and stuff like that. But when you're actually like a high elo player and you read some of the opinions that people post on Reddit about how they believe the game should be, or even Twitter to an extent is like this as well, and you read people's opinions on how the game should be, you realize how awful they are at the game. So here we have complete prio on Baron, so we're going to force Baron. Yone actually 1v2s and gets a kill because he's a Yone after all. That's what Yone does. Dies to the Sion passive, unfortunately, but we do get Baron for it. Dragon's in 35, so we're gonna go ahead and try and rotate over there. My MF gets flash ulted here. Gonna dodge around the Galio ultimate, flinging Bard into my team. He ends up just melting, absolutely melting to my poison autos there and fling. Another big benefit of being able to buy through damage items first. Super good. So when the enemy team is more tank heavy, you can afford to build damage because you don't have to rely on durability as much. When the enemy team is more squishy, you actually have to be a bit more durable. Not always, but that's generally the case. Right there, we actually blow Galio's Zonias, which is super good. I know Skarner's ult is down, so I fling him back in. We're just getting a lot of damage value using all my dot abilities here. The Riftmaker, the Demonic, the Poison Trail, just everything. So to keeping me alive the entire time, I'm gonna go ahead and get Dragon Soul here. But yeah, personally not a huge advocate of them saying that top lane or just not Riot. Although I think that's sadly the approach that they've adopted. Not a huge advocate of people in general saying that top lane should be an island. I think that's stupid. I think that's dumb. I think that the early game isolation is part of the reason why top laners are balanced the way that they are, for sure, because it's less likely you get help from your bot lane, it's less likely you get help from your jungler, yeah. But I don't think as a game design philosophy that top lane should be isolated. I think that that's just silly. It's 5v5 game, it should be a 5v5 game, but right now it feels like 4v4 plus spectator, so... Right here, I have TP up, so I'm pushing the side lane. I know that the team fight will occur soon because Sion is missing, he's off the map, and that the enemy team is slowly pushing up. I'm watching intently for a ward for teleport, or just a minion for teleport right now, because I know that's going to happen soon. Right there, they engage on my team, so pop the teleport, gonna go ahead and teleport in. I get the mountain shield as soon as I TP in, which is super good, good timing. Pop the ghost of the TP in, I have Nimbus Cloak going, I have Ghost going, Ultimate going. Fling Skarner in, he dies. Fling Bard here, he gets burned to death. He even flashes and ignites me and he still dies. Just getting massive dot damage. I see Sivir over the wall, fling her, she dies, just getting big DPS here. At this point, because of the Blighting Jewel and all my other items, they're just not equipped to deal with me, basically, and I'm melting them. They're all melting. And Sion even dies there as well. I'm going to make sure that he actually isn't able to finish these minions off. We're just going to Sony even ult him. We're just making sure that he doesn't have the capacity to stall us there. A few months ago, Sion would have been able to stall the game there, because he would have been so strong from the early game that he would have cleared that wave even through the Baron and through us. But now with all the nerfs that Sion's gotten, Sion's actually been nerfed even more than Singed has. Like, Singed got nerfed pretty bad. They're buffing him soon. But Sion got, like, demolished, basically. Sion got hit pretty hard. So, something to consider, right? Yeah, I'm just not generally a huge fan of the direction that Riot has taken top lane. And I'm scared that part of it is, like... I'm scared that part of it is that they're slowly kind of, I guess, believing that the community thinks that top lane should be an island, but like a lot of top laners, I would say most top laners aren't really a fan of that. Like, I'm a fan of the champions that I play, right? And the champions that I play have been balanced around it. You know, if I could proxy Singed in mid lane, I totally would, but you really can't. Like, you can proxy, like, not really, because you're gonna die, because there's not like space to proxy in mid lane. That being said, you know, I think I've made my point on the whole top lane thing. Hopefully Riot fixes it, but I guess that's another thing to talk about is Riot did address that a lot of top laners are frustrated right now with the state of top lane, and they were actually going to nerf it more. They were going to actually nerf teleport again to be 420 second cooldown, base cooldown, instead of 360 like it is now. 360 is 5 minutes, 420 is 6 minutes, and they're going to give it a 6-minute base cooldown, and they decided not to because people were actually so pissed off that that they would nerf top lane so much in one patch. So they actually went back on that, but they said that top lane, I think the quote was that fixing top lane satisfaction was a high priority for them, but, this is a big but, that they would not be able to get to it until preseason. And they said this in like the end of July. So it's like, we're just supposed to wait like 6-7 more patches until preseason to have top lane not feel bad to play. Like, come on, man, you know, like, that's not very fair. Because it's also not fun for like the other people in the game too, because here's what happens whenever top lane is bad to play, is that to make top lane win rates not be horrendous, or just like 50% across the board, aka coin flip roll, they have to just giga buff champions, right? They have to just make champions so strong. And this is where the Thanos top laner, like, the Thanos top laner meme comes into play, is they have to make champions so individually strong, like, that they can just 1v9 a game regardless of how weak their lane is. They have to make champions like, you know, Season 10 Camille with Death's Dance, Season 10 or season 9 Riven with Spear of Shojin, season 9 Jax with Spear of Shojin. They have to make these types of champions that are so insanely strong, season 11 Fiora, right, that they can just dominate the game regardless of how bad the role is. Not that top lane was bad in season 11, top lane is quite good in season 11. I'd say, well, it was quite good for top lane. Right here, Yone is fighting 1v2, so I know that they're going to engage on him. I see Bard walk up a little bit too far, I engage on him, get a lot of damage off on him, proc my Riftmaker. The Tenacity rune here comes in a big play. Skarner could have ulted me, but he's trying not to waste it. No, actually his ult was down here, I remember. But just run through the entire team with Poison Trail on, Conqueror fully stacked, get all of my assists, heal all of my HP. Conqueror getting massive value, Riftmaker getting massive value, Demonic getting massive value, Void Staff doing massive work. And yeah, essentially, I just feel like that being told to wait until preseason is a bad sign for the health of the game, because then they're gonna... Right now we have Singed buffs coming in, but guess what? They're also buffing Kennen, they're also buffing Shen. Shen, who is already, by the way, at a 53% win rate, they're buffing him. And they're gonna be buffing like all sorts of other top laners probably, because as top lane like changes, then they're gonna have to like make individual champions stronger to improve player satisfaction in the short term. It's usually what happens. And then what happens is that everybody else starts complaining, oh man, Camille got 1 kill and she's she 1v9s every game. Or hey, the top lane Fiora got 1 kill and she 1v9s every game. And you know, is that okay, or is that fun for the other people? Like, you have to consider that, right? I don't think that horrendously overtuning champions is good for the long-term health of the game or long-term health of the role, because it not only skews perspective of the role, it also like skews perspective of just like the game in general, right? So it's like kind of lame. And hopefully they fix it, but we'll see how it goes. Sorry, this was definitely a bit of a rant. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace, guys.